Hey, how's it going? This week, overall, just to summarize last week, that would be 109. Was overall great week. I have finished a training course. I managed to complete a lot of other different things, as well as I was looking at a lot. I had a lot of meetings with regards to software and software development. I have reached out to a number of companies, over 100 of companies, I believe so. And from there, I had meetings with about 10 or slightly over 10 different companies with regards to software, what would be the process of building some of the projects as well as working with those companies. From there, if anything, I understand something that I might need to build my own software. So it's something I will try and see how I'll get on with that perhaps this week. If not, it might require slightly longer than that. Overall, we're on a week 110, and this week I'm going to be focusing on exporting worldwide instead of domestically. I'm going to be looking at different processes and whether we require to export goods or services. There's a huge emphasis on digital goods, and I might address that as well. About Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, at least one meeting a day where I'm going to be focusing on exporting, what we like, how to protect, insurance, all the good stuff. Something I'll be focusing on, as well as I'll be finish week with looking at some of the government contracts and perhaps sourcing finance is something I'll be focusing on, other than perhaps building a software and what will be required to do that. In this video, I'm going to be focusing on what myself, I'm currently going to be doing that, as well as perhaps I'll track progress of my own work. But I'll be focusing on how to develop a software and where to begin. If I understand anything, best place to begin is to understand legal agreements as well as limitations. If you're gonna be working with assistance of any particular softwares out there, in this particular case, perhaps I would need to have the particular software. It's gonna be front end and back end, right? So if what are limitations of within legal agreements for me to perhaps later to sell or use that particular software for commercial use. I have done a little bit of research yesterday, so to understand a little bit better. I haven't. I have completed some projects with regards to IT. I'm not the best at it as far as I know, so there's gonna be more of a learning experience. There are some people out there who have done it for 10 or more years, have done different projects, not this particular project with regards to IT, but all the projects that I'll be doing in the future, all of them will require some sort of IT assistance. I have developed websites, I have done so I understand some things, but I haven't coded. So all the time, coding seems to be a very daunting task. That I have threw myself in way more complicated situations than that, and it's just my own personal experience, sink or swim, right? So it's just because of the prices. So the prices up there currently in industry, as well as if I would be working with. So prices is one factor, right? But sometimes I could work with other people's money, so that's not really a big factor. I need to receive recommendations that those people that I'm going to be working with, who actually, especially all the meetings that I had last week, some of those people would actually deliver on what has been required with them. Some of those companies would only start from $20,000 projects, right? Some LA companies, right, that I spoke to yesterday. So they're only interested in this size of the projects, which is great. But I was started from the top, from what I understand, or if they uh, those companies understand that we're currently in a recession. That's my personal opinion, and they we need to think about the price either way. Most likely I can close the project for this kind of budget, but either way, can they actually deliver on that project, and if that would be entry point for a project that I could work with any company. If that's a project, $20,000, that's a starting block. That's where to begin, or to begin somewhere else. Start with a smaller project. That's my personal opinion, right? Most of the projects to do those projects or build some of the SaaS projects can require, I don't know, 3 days, 4 days. You just need an idea and perhaps community or group of interested people to do some of those SaaS projects. I completely agree with it. Perhaps not in the beginning, it might require a little bit more of my time, but for the most part, I just need an idea and MVP, and it could require a week or 2 weeks to deliver any of those projects. You just need an idea. There are a lot of funding up there, as well as myself. Most of the projects, if not all the projects, would require some sort of software, or to the least website, an app, or I can do a million things with those. Perhaps platforms that I can build with onto. So it's something that I'm interested in. Perhaps if anything, I can do it myself and charge others this kind of amount of money. Well, I don't know. I don't know. We will see. We will see. I don't know if I should cover that in more detail, but I have done a little bit of research, as I mentioned to you before, front end and back end. So there are some softwares out there who has free license to use for front end, and some of those softwares are for back end as well. And what I need to understand very well structure and how I want to structure a project. And some of those projects are there. I can do those. I don't know, in a matter of hours, if not minutes, right? But not necessarily the project is gonna be up to a standard. It depends on UI UX, and I wanna do I wanna throw some lipstick on that and the project looks nice, I guess. Some of the things, right? But it would be functional, it would work, and then not necessarily the software will break. How? What about scaling and progression? And all those good things, right? So I know something that I need to do perhaps myself. From there, I can progress and see how I can scale those projects and how I can bring more people in. I already spoke to some project managers here in the UK and how what would be required. And why I'm saying this, because it perhaps worth mentioning, when you not necessarily working with your own money, if you were to deliver any of IT projects, some of those projects would require a lot of clearance before you can, depending who you're working with, right? The team that you are working with, sometimes it requires a lot of clearance, and as well as it might be part of the requirement to identify your team and where that team is based for IT projects for some reason. Perhaps there are some obstacles there as well, and some of the market prices is based on where people is located. Might be cheaper, more expensive, but if anything, looking for professional people should be a key area where everyone should focus on. But either way, so some of the feedback from my personal experience. For those of you who are interested in learning more, last week I have launched a course. It's an online course. It's in a video format. You can find this course on my company's website, as well as I have published on a number of different websites or platforms available up there. But all those other platforms will take percentage of the course, so I prefer if you buy it directly, as well as I'm interested in doing something with blockchains and perhaps taking payments on that, but it is a requirement of my time. I'll take a look at that perhaps a little bit later. Either way, if you are interested, I can share, or if I'll share a link, a QR code. If you go there, there's a description there about the course and how I structure the course. Feel free to go there, and or if you have any questions, reach out to me. To build entire platform, it might be challenging. I guess it might require a little bit more of my time than it should. But if I were to begin, I thought about I need a lot of softwares, right? So it would be perhaps asset management. I would need stock management overall, perhaps finance, as well as we need platform, perhaps information sharing, all those things I will need to cover with all those IT projects, but just to name a few areas, but as well as information sharing. So I'll begin with a chat perhaps. So it would be perhaps sending message, and what would be required to build is something simple as that. So I'll begin with that and see my progression. I'll share some information perhaps later this week. What can I build? If you got any questions or suggestions, how to that, or if you're interested working together, doing that together, then feel free to chat to me. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next one.